Hi, my name is Jamie. I live in Saudi Arabia and I have a makeup collection that just keeps getting larger. Good Lord, did it ever today, but that's not what we're talking about just right now. If you would like to see the video with what I have on my eyeballs, that is going to be coming up later. I have a whole big brand sort of review with a mystery box, so please stay tuned for that. It's gonna be a good one. If you're new here, hi. I like to talk about indie brands a lot. I like to talk about eyeshadow. I like to talk about makeup. I like to talk about whatever I want to talk about. Usually. That could even include Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That happened one time. If you are returning, thanks. Thanks for coming back. I always like to see you. You can always feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And yeah, let's talk about the thing that we're going to talk about today. I've got cat hair in my mouth. I have two catchphrases. I need to wash my brushes, and I have cat hair all over my face. These are a constant in my life. Today what I'm going to be talking about is palettes in my collection from, okay, wait, I gotta back up. So today what I'm going to talk about are brands that I only have one palette from, and why? Why is that? Usually when I'm trying a new brand, I try to not just buy one palette from their catalog, especially like with an indie brand. You can't always get the sense of a brand by using just one palette, in my opinion, but obviously that is not cost effective. Well, also in my case, if I'm ordering, say, from the US or like out, you know, there's no Saudi Arabian indie brands that I know of anyway. If there are, let me know. Since I'm ordering from Saudi Arabia and it's really difficult to get things here and it takes a long time and it usually takes 5 weeks for anything to finally get here, it's generally more cost effective for me to maybe order 2 palettes at once, and then I can have like a better, more cohesive idea of how the brand works. So there aren't a lot of brands in my collection that I only have one palette from, but these are them. So let's get started. This is brand new to my collection. I've only had it a few days, and this is the Perfect Happiness palette from Salem Cosmetics. And this is stunning. It is very blue. I really enjoy the color story of this. Look at those shifts in those duochromes, multi-chromes. This is a really beautiful palette. This one did arrive kind of fluffed out of the pan, but that's okay. And I enjoy this palette. I really love this palette. And the reason that I only have one palette from this brand is that the other one isn't here yet. I think you know which one it is. So spoiler, but not spoiler alert, really. Yeah, you already know. The second brand that I only have one palette from is Urban Decay. So I have the Stoned Vibes palette. I bought this in 2020. Oh man, look at this. Okay, this is Urban Decay's attempt at duochromes, and at the time, this was revolutionary. And to be honest, I still, like, when I bought this palette, I really, really liked it, and I did enjoy it very, very much. But let's just take a gander in, for instance, like the blue shifty shadow from this palette. So I'll swatch it for you. What shade is this? What shade is this? This is Prom. Okay. So there's that. And then there's that, right? Then I'm gonna take this palette, and granted this palette is so old. It feels nice though. Although this is allegedly supposed to have a 24-month shelf life, so, you know, come on. You know, it's not terrible. Does it shift? Does it have the same vibrancy as, say, the Salem Cosmetics indie brand shadow? No, but it is really pretty. And I really bought this palette for Bloodstone. This attempt at a duochrome from Urban Decay. It is kind of lovely. So this is almost like a red to green. So I like this palette. This palette was not received that well in the community at the time. I almost wonder if this palette missed the mark in that people just weren't ready to be that experimental with these colors. And I even remember like around 2020 kind of going through a phase where I was like, why did I buy this? Why would I put duochromes on my eyes? Ugh, gross. That makes me look like a crazy person. And clearly we have evolved past that point. I personally have anyway, maybe you can tell. I sort of wonder if just we weren't ready for this palette. We just weren't there yet. And I still really like it, but here's the thing about Urban Decay as a brand. I have not liked anything since this palette. I did have the Naked Wild West palette and I decluttered it. I just didn't like it. I liked the color story, I liked the packaging, I liked the mattes in a way, but the mattes didn't hold up on my eyes very well and the shimmers sucked. They sucked caboodle. And there just isn't anything from Urban Decay that has come out ever that I'm that fascinated with, except for the Stoned Vibes palette. So I'm not holding my breath, are you? I almost thought about that Wild Greens palette, but at the same time, like at the time, I was like, why? Why? I have better things, I'm sure. I have other green palettes that are probably gonna be much better, and I was a little bit burned after that Naked Wild West palette. Is that even the palette's name? I don't remember. And yeah, I'm just off the Naked train. I don't care. I don't want them. I don't need them. I'm not gonna buy them. Whatever you do, Urban Decay, like, I don't know that that's the brand for me. It's a shame. I really like the Stoned Vibes palette for the 100 millionth time, but anything else, meh. What else? Whatever. The next one will come as no shock to you because I have openly stated that I absolutely hate this palette and I'm gonna try it one more time and then I think it's gonna go in the trash. This is the Martine Cosmetics 669 palette, and I believe Martine Cosmetics is either a Belgian or Belgian. I want to say Belgian indie brand. Belgian or French, I can't remember. And this is a very dark, very grungy color story. I really liked the idea of this like supposed duochrome. There are a few in this palette, but I absolutely hate the quality of these mattes. Period. They're muddy, they're dumb, and I don't like them, and they're dry. I don't like the quality, and I'm not gonna buy any more Martine Cosmetics for now. It was too expensive. I talked about this in a video a little while ago. It was expensive, and I don't like the quality, and also, what is this felt packaging for other than to collect my cat's hair? Maybe I'll just use it to mop my floor, like, you know, like a Swiffer. I'll just use it to Swiffer my floors with, to collect all of the hair. I hate this palette. Again, I'm gonna try it one more time. Maybe I'll video it, and then if I don't like the look, bye. And also, by the way, shadows don't hold up on my eyes. My eyes are not that bad, okay? Let it be known, okay? Ugh. Next up is Glaminatrix, and I have the Nocturnal palette, and I really like this palette. It's very beautiful. And they recently came out with the Into the Night palette that I was kind of thinking about. And then upon further reflection, I realized I do not need a fuchsia pink. I do not need a silver. Those are two colors that I just am not interested in having more of. And the Nocturnal palette, as well as the Into the Night palette, is I believe 12 shades. And if I don't like two of them, I'm not gonna pay money for that. So I like this palette. I'm gonna continue to have this palette. I am not swearing off the brand by any means. I'm just gonna wait for something that intrigues me a little bit more. That's it. And I also missed out on the Glamorous palette, is that what it is? I would have probably bought both Nocturnal and Glamorous, but I think the other one was out of stock, if that's what it's called. I can't remember. I hope they bring it back. But again, when I have to go through all the trouble of shipping, it is much more effective for me to order two at a time, at least. So there's that. Natasha Denona. I have one palette from Natasha Denona. This is the Metropolis palette. And while I don't have any plans to declutter this anytime soon, I'm not gonna buy any more Natasha Denona. And honestly, I did not buy this in the first place for myself. This was a mistake. Sephora made a mistake and sent me this instead of the mini gold palette. And I was not going to correct that mistake. But also, I am never, ever, 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 ever going to buy a $125 eyeshadow palette. I'm just not gonna do it. Not from a mainstream brand, not maybe from anybody. I'm just not going to. No, I feel like Natasha Denona's aesthetic just isn't quite mine. I like the Metropolis palette. It has served me well. I'm not dying to like get rid of it or anything, but why do I have 4 oranges here? I hate that for me. I really liked the green side, but I don't know. I'm not gonna buy more. No more Natasha Denona. No more. It just doesn't intrigue me. The next one is KVD, and this is the Edge of Reality palette, and I like this palette. This was a gift from a client of mine, a horse client of mine, and this is really beautiful. I do like that it is divided in this particular way. I have used this palette out in nature, and actually this blue is kind of a bit of a matte. The shimmer shades are really nice to work with. I like the palette. Has KVD managed to produce a thrilling palette since this one? No. And I didn't buy this one for myself in the first place. I don't think I would buy myself this in the first place. I'm glad to have it. I don't care about what KVD has done since then, really. I have the NYX Ultimate Utopia palette, and I like NYX. I like this palette. I don't need more gigantic palettes from NYX particularly. This has worked for me just fine, and most of the palettes that NYX is producing are pretty neutral, pretty similar to each other. And again, that's not my style of makeup. I like neutrals, don't get me wrong, but I don't need to go buy it. I don't need to go out and buy more neutral palettes so that I can own more NYX. You know what I mean? I just don't need to. I already have the neutrals that I need, and I'm really happy to have this palette. This has a lot of tones that I think are really beautiful, and I wore this palette the other day. I'm perfectly happy with it, but again, I just don't need more. I just don't. It doesn't intrigue me. But this will come as no surprise, but I do not have another Morphe palette besides this one, and this one's days may be numbered. I was looking at it today, and I mean, look at how ratchet this is. And I really like this palette. I've used this palette somewhat recently, and you never know, I may drag it out again here soon. You just never know with this thing. I think it's understandable why I don't have any more Morphe palettes. I don't need more eyeshadow that is mediocre, and those color stories don't interest me. The ethics of the brand don't interest me. So I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna buy any more. No. I got the Jaclyn Hill palette at a time when I didn't really know what my preferences were in makeup, and I think I got it like maybe 6 to 8 months after it was released. So it was just a different time. I didn't know what my preferences were, and again, would I prefer to pay a bit more money for more interesting color stories from an indie eyeshadow, what am I saying, an indie makeup brand? Yeah, like I would rather spend my money in that direction rather than do anything more with Morphe. I'm good. No more. I don't need it. Okay, so the last one is I only have one palette from Made by Mitchell, and you know that I love Made by Mitchell's products, as in like the color cases. I have blushes, things like that, and I'm always kind of eyeballing what he comes out with next, and I'm gonna sneeze. This palette is very much a color story that I respond to, you know, whatever in the world might I be responding to. And I like these very Mitchell-y colors, these like very electric yellow green tones. Super fun. I enjoy this palette. I have somewhat recently worked in this palette, and it's great. But the Head in the Clouds palette, no. The other one, I can't remember, but it's like cow print. No, not for me. Not a color story for me. And also, I don't see the brand producing any more eyeshadow palettes anyway. So, I don't know. If they ever come out with a color story that is a bit more intriguing, for sure, I'd maybe look into it. It is a little expensive, but again, I like indie brands. So, I'm not offended by spending my money in that direction, but it's just got to be the right color story for me. You know what I mean? So, thank you for watching this quick little video, and yeah, stick around. I've got more videos coming. I'm pre-filming right now, so we're just gonna have continuous content from me. You know what I mean? I need to stop saying that too. All right, I hope you have a lovely day. I'm gonna stop talking now. I've been talking for what seems like hours and hours and hours, and I am gonna eat something because that sounds nice too. I don't know, I've got to check my calories. Anyway, I hope you have a good day and I'll see you later. Bye.